All right, welcome to Ordering Real Numbers. This is the second lesson of the real number unit. We're going to look at putting them in order. What I'm going to tell you is you're going to look for commonality when you're ordering something. Don't try and order mixed things. So don't try and order fractions and decimals and square roots. It'll just cause you pain. So first, remember, we're going to talk about square roots. This is a refresher from 7th grade. A number multiplied by itself is called a square. So 2 times 2 equals 4. This is a square, and this can also be written as 2 squared equals 4. So find the square root number is inverse of creating a square. It's the opposite. So the square root of 4 equals whatever number times itself. So 2 squared. So square root 2 times 2 is 4. So square root of 4 is 2. And that shows you down here. But remember, there's actually 2 square roots for every number. There's a positive and a negative square root, because negative 2 times negative 2, negative 2 times negative 2 is still equal to 4. Now, that principal square root we only take as the positive. So your principal square root is your positive number. So the principal square root of 4 is 2. And the principal square root of 9 is 3. That's what they are. So a perfect square has integers as square roots. So the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. These are perfect squares because 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 3, or square root of 9 is 3. See if I can make my pen work right here. It's like got a hidden zone in there. Square root of 3 is, or square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 36 is 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. Square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 81 is 9. And the square root of 100 is 10. These are all perfect squares. So when dealing with mixed numbers, find the decimal equivalent of each number, and you can use that decimal equivalent to order them. So here I found the decimal equivalent. I went out to 2 decimal places. It seemed to be enough. Square root of 3 equaled 1.73. I got a negative 1. 1/2 is 0.05 or 0.5, and negative 0.42. I didn't have to convert it. So when I'm moving them over, I'm going to leave them. As I order them in order of number, I'm going to pay attention. This one would have been least to greatest. So I move my 1 straight to there. As I'm doing it, I'm going to keep whatever format it was given to me in originally. There's a lot of noise in the hallway. I apologize for that. And I'm going to do that. All right. So find the 2 square roots of each number. Well, what times itself equals 64? It's the square root of 64. That's 8 and negative 8, because it said 2 square roots. Square root of 100 is 10 and negative 10. When you're doing fractions, don't try and put square root of 1/9. Find the square root of 1 over the square root of 9, because the answer is going to be the same. So square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 9 is 3. That's 1/3. And its opposite is negative 1/3. Let's look down here. Anytime you get to a word problem, it talks about some square unit, in this case feet, it's a square root problem. Just square root that. So it says, how long is each side? Well, it's a square, so it's a side times side. Square root of 144, that's a perfect square, so it's 12. Now, and I'm going to make sure I add the unit of measurement. Would it be negative 12? No, you can't have a negative area. Not in this reality. All right, ordering real numbers. What we're going to do is find the decimal equivalent. I have my calculator. Sadly, it's off screen. I haven't figured out how to put it on screen yet. So I'm going to solve square root of 2 divided by 2. And I'm only going to do decimal. That's 0.71. Now, it says from least to greatest. Well, negative 10 is still below 0.71. So it's negative 10. Remember, negative numbers are less than 0. And 0.71. How about over here? I'm going to find the square root of 8. And that is 2.83. I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. I've got -4, I don't have to do anything, and 1.5, I don't have to do anything. Well, least to greatest, remember negatives, you got to keep them in mind. -4, then 1.5 is definitely less than the square root of 8. Oops, I blew it over here. I should have done square root of 2 over 2. I apologize. And square root of 8. So let's look down here. Pi is 3.14. The square root of 3, I've got my little calculator off screen. Use your calculators. 1.73. Again, I'm rounding to 2 digits. So which one's smaller? Well, square root of 3. And then pi. Over here, I've got square root of 6. Again, I'm calculating off screen. And I've got 2.45, rounding to 2 decimal places. And then -5.5, I don't have to do that. And then 3 over 2, I know that's 1.5. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So let's put them in order. Remember, least to greatest, that negative comes in there early on, -5.5. Then I got the 3/2. And last, I've got the square root of 6. All right, last, let's look at ordering these rational numbers, ordering these real numbers. I've got problems here. Now, this first problem, take a look at this. Square root of 2 is on both sides. We're going to play with equations more. But remember, if it's on both sides, it pretty much nullifies it. We'll go ahead and solve it. So the square root of 2 plus 1. Now, be careful here. A lot of times, if you do square root of 2 plus 1, you'll end up with that plus 1 inside the radical sign. And that's problematic. So I've got 2.41. I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. Over here, I've got square root of 2 plus 8. I already know this is going to be hugely bigger than this. I've got 9.41. Well, that's definitely larger. Let's go over here. I've got square root of 3. Again, remember, use your calculator correctly. Plus 5. That's 6.73. And over here, I've got 5 plus the square root of 6. And that's 7.45. Well, that's definitely larger. So this is going to be this way. That's going to be that way. Down here, I've got 3 plus the square root of 3. And that equals 4.73. I've got square root of 7 minus 3. I made a boo-boo there. Mostly it's because I have big fingers. And that one is negative 0.35. Well, negative is definitely smaller. So, whoops. So this one's going to go this way. All right. That's that. Hopefully there's no questions. Your homework is very much follows these. Concentrating your square roots. Pay attention when it asks for 2 or 1. Pay attention if it says the perfect square. Pay attention if it says whichever part of that square it wants. Convert everything to decimals. Don't be lazy. Write this stuff down. It's paper. It's already dyed. We've already paid for it. Put stuff on paper. So that concludes that one.